bananas, the ones who are getting these small bananas, is because you go to your neighbor and you tell them to give you one of the banana you go and plant, which you might be taking something from there and it has the diseases, especially for other people farm, and you're transferring this disease to your farm. And again, when you grow it, how are you going to do it? Are you going to do the way we have been advised by the agriculture? Some of them, they do a very small pit, the hole, which you are supposed to do 2 meters by 2 meters. Then you are supposed to put manure, enough manure, and watering. Because what we are taking is, when you are growing the banana, it is more of water and manure. Water and manure. Yes. And of course, ensuring that you do a lot of, what do we call it? When you put the grass on top of the banana feet there, around the banana stalk. Okay. Mulching. The mulching. Yeah. We are not advised to do that. We are supposed to keep it as clean as possible. Ah, okay. Yeah. Interesting. And I know you've answered Betty's question. The next question, of course, we did have you on part 1 of the show. Now we're into the second part of the show. And there are a number of things we didn't get to talk about. Something about the processing. For example, I have the bananas I've harvested. How do I convert my bananas now to, like what we have here on our table? Like I can see the uji, pamat, I can see banana flour, terere. What's the next step after you have harvested? Interesting. When you get these from the farmer, we come to our factory where we are doing this processing. We make sure that we wash them clean. And we rinse them like 2 times. Simply, why are we doing this? Because sometimes there are snails which are in the bananas. So we make sure that we clean them, that those dust and those black things are out. Once we clean them, we slice them to small pieces, small slices. And the reason why we are slicing them to those small slices is because our preservative is through dehydration. So we are dehydrating the water. So we use solar dryer. After slicing into small pieces, with the cover. With a machine, together with a peel. So we put them in the solar dryer. A solar dryer is something like a greenhouse, but with a special paper. So that is to prevent also the dust from outside and also to fasten the drying and to make them dry evenly. So we dry, it takes like 2 to 3 days depending with the weather, though we are changing from the solar dryer to electrical drying because you have to start and you grow. Now we are going to electrical drying, which will be taking like hours. And then once you dry them, there is a gadget that we use to measure the content of the water, which is in the dried banana. There is a recommended one, and once we see that it's already in that recommended one, now we mill. After now the milling, that is when we have our end product here. So there is no preservative that we are adding. There are no chemicals that we are adding. It is as much natural as possible. Wow. Let me pick one. You can see we have it here. This is now banana flour. I'm sure it sounds interesting to have bananas coming out of this. It's not a usual thing we get to see from farmers. Of course, why is it important to value add? When you look at, in the beginning we said 40% of our farm produce goes to a waste. How does it go to a waste? It's because when you're getting the products from the farm, in the process, some of them they ripen before you get for market. Some of them, sometimes because of poor infrastructure, you don't get them to the market. But now, when we get these ones and we dry them, it will have a longer shelf life. And again, adding value, you sell it more. Because you sell it more because you're adding, you get better. You sell it better because when you're adding value, you are moving from the raw product direct from the farm, and you're having time to look at it. Then it is going to take, there is that process of drying, that process of washing and all that. Then you give a net product, which will be at least better financing for you. So the banana, just walk us through the value chain. The bananas, you plant them or you're currently receiving from different farmers? We are getting from our farm, and also we are getting from people, individual groups. We said we are working, for now we are working with 2 counties, that is Kiambu County and Murang'a County. In Kiambu County we have 2 wards. We are working with Ting'ang'a and we are working with Jeddah. We have MCAs, we are working with the MCAs. So MCAs are mobilizing people so that they can bring the bananas at a central point for us to have an easier access to the product. Then once we come, we weigh them and we get them, we pay them there and then from there we have people, you know, it's a value chain. So there are people who are trucks who are going to carry for us. So we at the same time, we are creating business on the other side of the transportation. Then from where we are, we have people who are working on this, cleaning the casuals, and we are creating employment. We are working with women, we are working with youth. Yeah.
One question I always ask entrepreneurs who come to sit where you've sat is, what are the profit margins? For example, I'm interested in going into this kind of business. How much am I likely to get out of this?
Out of the cost of production that we do, that is, you have to include the power, include the water, the labor, those transportation and all that. From the cost of production, we add 40%. And that's why we call it value addition.
So you get 40% on top?
40% on top.
Wow. That's a good margin.
It's a good margin.
It's a good margin.
Food is very good. Food has good margins.
Interesting. The other issue I'd like to get to ask you is about looking at this kind of value addition. Of course, the other question around value addition is the infrastructure you have to invest in. How much did you have to put in to have the factory where you do the milling, the solar gadgets you've talked about? Just give us a rough estimate.
The rough estimate, I would say, you know, people start differently. And there are people who want to start small, depending with the kind of the market that you're targeting. And there are people who want to start big. And I think as we started, I would say average, because we have each and every equipment. We have the sorting area, the receiving area. We have the machines for slicing, which is something goes for like 90,000. We have a miller, and then we have a greenhouse. Together we have a full office where we have accountants because of dispatching the products. And also we can talk about the packaging. So generally, I would say, depending with the way someone wants to start with it, you can start an average, you can start small, and you can start with big. Because if you look at people who are doing it, who want to do this drying as a group, as an individual out there, you can be drying, and then you go to a portion mill, and you tell them to do a very fine product, flour. So you don't have to start with every equipment.
I know you've not told me how much. I hope by the end of the show you'll be able to give me the numbers.
We will.
Okay, let's now talk about some of the uses of the products that come out. I can see we have Uji, Pamat Uji, you have the flour. I think this is terere, if I'm not wrong.
That is arrowroot.
For someone owning, let's say, even an eighth somewhere in their rural home or even within the outskirts of Nairobi.
I would say you don't have to start big, and especially youth, we encourage them. You don't have to start big to do agribusiness. Especially, I come from a county in Murang'a County where we don't have a big land. You can start small and intercropping. You know, before their bananas are almost to 12 months, you do intercropping so that you don't give up. You know, investing, and then you are not getting the returns. So you can be doing the intercropping. You can start small, and whatever the ritual that you have, you can be able to do value addition and also getting from other people, your neighbors. I encourage your neighbors. Someone has a quota, another one a quota, another one a quota. You will work together as a community.
Quite inspirational. And as we wind up our conversation, of course, one of the biggest challenges farmers usually face is they want to start farming a certain crop, and they're not experts. For example, let's take my example. Assuming I want to start farming bananas. I didn't go to any particular class in university or postgraduate to understand what it takes. For someone who is keen on going into this kind of farming, what do they need to know about, first of all, getting the seedlings, the planting, and of course the pesticides, and the other thing is the market. I've planted, then there's the supply part. Walk us through that if you can.
I would tell you this, how I started this also, to learn about banana value addition. Ministry of Agriculture are really helping people, and I think they are in each and every county. And if you go visit their offices, they will help you in terms of where to get the seedlings, because they're having this value chain. And when they're having the forums of the value chain, it's only people don't want to attend those forums. They come with the people who are having the seedlings. They will bring for you the people who are the market for you. They will bring for you the people who are going to advise you, especially the agronomist. And they will walk the journey with you. And that's how we have walked the journey with them. Like for us, we are in Kiambu County. The farm is in Juja. We were trained by ATDC, which is in Roiro, and Ministry of Agriculture also has really supported us. There is also a department for agribusiness in Ministry of Agriculture. They also help people. So if you go and visit them, they are open and ready to help you.
Open and ready to help.
Yes.
For people, as we wrap up the program, for people who want to get into this kind of business, what are some of the risks involved, so that as people make their decisions, they also know, hey, you need to be aware of 8, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Now, the risk, I would say, we said a value addition is where we are trying to avoid the wastage of farm produce. But sometimes, I did mention this, that we get bananas which are not completely grown. Because sometimes you can buy like 2 tons, 5 tons, and you go with them at your place. Then the weather is so hot, they ripen all of them. We don't slice, we don't dry ripen bananas. So that is a loss. So those are the things that you have to know about getting the kind of a banana, and at what stage are you supposed to get it from the farm to dry it. And again, the process of drying. How is your greenhouse, the solar dryer? So there are people who can do a solar dryer, then you don't cover it. So there's a moist which is coming out and it creates the mold. So when you take your product to the cabs, it won't go through, and you have lost all that. Because even if your product goes through the cabs, when it go to the supermarket, they can pick any time and they check.
And do you think people should also think about insuring their farms?
Yeah, insurance, it is good. It is good. Depending with the risk that someone is at in the area, insuring is very good, because like us, we are being affected by hippos, which sometimes they can come and invade your farm and destroy most of your products. It is good to insure.
And your parting shot is, I'd like to get your parting shot. How do you see the future when it comes to value addition in Kenya? Because the government has been trying to push an aggressive campaign where they're saying, farmers, you can value add. We've seen it happening in different sectors, now coming into agriculture. Do you think value addition is the way to go for Kenya?
Value addition is the way to go to Kenya, but even if the government is trying to talk to people about the value addition, I've said there are people who don't have the capacity of having all those machineries. I wish they would have somewhere at a central point, every county, where they'll be going for this machinery. If someone is wanting to do the tomato paste, they will go and have all the equipments, especially these, the pasteurizers. Like for someone who is young who wants to start that, cannot be able to afford to buy the pasteurizer. So I would say if every county, they would have a central point where people can be going for these value addition thing, then you go with your products and then you go home with the finished product. It would be very good. And again, I would also encourage people not to look farming as a farming, but to look at it as an agribusiness, and to look agribusiness in value addition, because there's more money in value addition.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, I would also want to tell people they can reach us through our website, which is www.pamatfoods.com. Our contacts are there. We train people. And also they can like our Facebook, which is pamatfoods.com.
That's a perfect place to end it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pauline Mwangi there, sharing with us the story about value addition, indicating that there is hope when it comes to agriculture, and do not take agriculture just for fun, but you can actually make money out of it.